They say friends are the family we choose. And if you're anything like me, you probably believe that once you chose them, you stick it out, through thick and thin. You show up, you forgive, you make excuses for their behavior, because that's what loyalty looks like, right? At least, that's what I used to think. But over the years, I've learned a hard truth: loyalty without boundaries isn't loyalty, it's self-betrayal. And staying in the wrong friendships doesn't make you kind. It makes you tired. Today, we're talking about something we don't talk about enough: knowing when to let go. This conversation matters more than we realize, because who you surround yourself with shapes everything. Your energy, your thoughts, your confidence. It influences those quiet, late-night conversations you have with yourself. If your life feels cluttered, heavy, or just off, chances are there's someone close to you who no longer fits where you're going. I've lived it. I kept friendships out of habit, guilt, and fear until I realized they weren't helping me grow, they were holding me back. The Stoics said, "The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, and your thoughts are shaped by your circle." 1. They drain your energy. Think about someone in your life, someone you care about, maybe even love. Maybe it's a childhood friend, a college roommate, or a coworker you've known for years. On paper, the relationship still looks good. But every time you interact with them, you leave feeling completely drained. Not because you were there for them through a real crisis or had a deep, meaningful conversation, but because it's always the same cycle. You listen, absorb, nod along, and carry the emotional weight of someone else's chaos without ever being asked how you're doing. You hang up the phone or walk away from coffee feeling like you've just run a mental marathon, except you didn't sign up for it. You're emotionally hungover from the drama, the negativity, the endless complaints. And if you're honest with yourself, it's not a one-time thing. It's a pattern. A dynamic. One where you're expected to give, absorb, fix, but rarely receive anything in return. I had a friend like this, let's call her Linda. Linda could light up a room. She was funny, charming, the life of the party. But over time, I started noticing a shift. Or maybe I just started noticing, period. Every conversation revolved around her, her problems, her frustrations, her life. And no matter how much time I gave, how much advice I offered, nothing ever changed. She didn't want growth. She wanted an audience. I stuck it out for years because I thought that's what good friends do. But 3 years later, I realized this wasn't a rough season. This was her norm. And I was choosing to stay in it. The Stoics taught us, you become what you give your attention to. And I was giving my attention to chaos. Walking away wasn't cruel, it was clarity. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to you. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's wise. Your energy is limited. Spend it on relationships that refuel you, not ones that leave you running on empty. Because the truth is, people who constantly drain your energy aren't just exhausting, they're quietly robbing you of your joy, your focus, and your future. 2. They don't respect your boundaries. Boundaries. We talk about them a lot, but let's be real, setting them, especially with friends, can feel incredibly uncomfortable. We're taught that being a good friend means being endlessly available, saying yes even when everything in us is screaming no. But the truth is, boundaries aren't about pushing people away, they're about protecting your peace. A friend who truly respects you will also respect your boundaries. And when they don't, you'll feel it. Deeply. I learned this the hard way through someone I once considered a close friend, let's call him Mike. Mike was charismatic, quick-witted, and had a sharp sense of humor. But that humor often came with a sting. In group settings, he'd make jokes about my career, my appearance, even personal things I'd told him in confidence. People laughed, including me, because laughing was easier than sitting in the silence of how much it actually hurt. One day, I finally spoke up. I told him, calmly and honestly, that his comments were starting to affect me. His response? "You're too sensitive. It's just a joke. Lighten up." And just like that, my boundaries were turned into punchlines. Here's what Stoic philosophy taught me: you wouldn't let someone repeatedly hit you and call it affection, so why allow someone to hit your self-respect and call it humor? Epictetus said, "You are not a slave to others unless you allow it." When someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, whether through jokes, manipulation, or dismissal, they're showing you that their comfort matters more than your emotional well-being. That's not friendship. That's control wrapped in casual cruelty. You don't owe endless tolerance to people who use your kindness as a loophole to mistreat you. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates. And you control who gets access. When someone mocks or ignores your boundaries, you're allowed to step away, not with anger, but with clarity. Because protecting your peace isn't about punishing them. It's about honoring yourself. And let me tell you, peace is worth protecting. Every single time. 3. You feel judged more than accepted. Some friendships don't break with a bang, they fade with a feeling. A quiet, subtle shift that's hard to name at first. You share exciting news, a promotion, a personal win, a dream you're finally chasing, and instead of support, you're met with raised eyebrows, backhanded compliments, or concern that doesn't feel sincere. It's not obvious criticism. It's the kind that wears a mask, usually labeled "just looking out for you." I had a friend like that. Every time I shared something meaningful, starting a new project, traveling somewhere on my bucket list, even small personal milestones, the response was the same: cautious, hesitant, subtly dismissive. "Are you sure you can handle that much stress? That place is kind of overrated. Don't get your hopes up too high." At first, I thought maybe I was overthinking it. But over time, I noticed a pattern: the more I grew, the more uncomfortable they seemed. And that's when it hit me: some people aren't intimidated by your success. They're intimidated by your growth. Because your evolution challenges the version of you they're comfortable with. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And when you constantly feel judged, your thoughts shift, you start doubting yourself, second-guessing your decisions, shrinking your dreams just to make someone else more comfortable. True friends don't measure your growth against their insecurities. They cheer you on, even when your path looks different from theirs. They don't need you to stay small so they can feel safe. The Stoics remind us that our minds are sacred space. We must guard what enters, especially the subtle judgment that chips away at our self-worth. If someone consistently casts shadows over your light, it's not just how they are, it's a sign. You deserve to be surrounded by people who light up when you shine, not those who dim the room to feel taller. If a friendship leaves you feeling judged more than accepted, it's okay to walk away. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Because your growth isn't up for debate. 4. They don't respect your time or commitments. Time is one of the most valuable things we have, and once it's gone, we don't get it back. You can earn more money, buy new things, restart a project, but the 60 minutes someone wasted by not showing up? That's gone forever. And when someone repeatedly disrespects your time, it's not just poor manners, it's a loud message about how much, or how little, they value you. I learned this through a friendship with someone I'll call Ryan. He was the life of every party, charming, funny, always saying he couldn't wait to hang out. But here's the thing, he never actually showed up. He'd cancel last minute, show up an hour late, or worse, just ghost the plans altogether. No apology. No explanation. Just silence. One time, I hosted a small dinner at my place. I cooked, cleaned, rearranged my schedule, all because he said he'd be there. 1 hour before it started, I got a 2-sentence text: "Hey, something came up. Can't make it." No follow-up. No accountability. I told myself it was a one-time thing. But it wasn't. It was a pattern. And patterns don't lie. The Stoics taught that our time should be guarded like treasure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others, unless it is for the common good." In other words, if someone consistently shows you that your time doesn't matter to them, believe them. Because that behavior doesn't just reflect how they treat your calendar, it reflects how they treat you. A friend who respects you will make an effort to be present. And when life happens, as it does, they'll communicate. They'll take responsibility. They'll try to make it right. But if you're constantly the one making adjustments, waiting around, being the only one who shows up fully, it's time to reevaluate. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something that should be mutual, automatic, and obvious. Letting go of people who waste your time isn't petty. It's powerful. Because every no you give to someone who takes you for granted is a yes to your peace, your priorities, and your self-worth. 5. They gossip about others, and probably about you, too. There's a story about Socrates that stood the test of time. Before listening to gossip, he'd ask 3 simple questions. Is it true? Is it good? Is it useful? If the answer was no to any of those, he didn't want to hear it. And honestly, neither should we. We've all met someone who lives for the inside scoop. They always seem to know who's getting divorced, who got fired, or who's secretly struggling, and they tell it like they're doing you a favor by keeping you in the loop. At first, it might feel like a backstage pass. You think, wow, they trust me with all this info. But here's the truth, if they're always talking about everyone else behind their backs, what do you think they say when you're not in the room? I had a friend like that. Every brunch, every coffee meetup turned into a whisper session about someone else. Who was failing, who was fake, who was not really doing that well. She made it sound like concern, but it wasn't. It was entertainment. And I'll admit, I played along longer than I should have. But the moment I realized she'd twisted things I told her in confidence and repeated them to others, that was it. I wasn't shocked, I was disappointed in myself for ignoring the signs. The Stoics were clear: protect your mind like a fortress. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that what we allow into our thoughts shapes the quality of our lives. And gossip? It's poison, disguised as connection. True friends protect your name when you're not around. They don't need to drag others down to lift you up. And they definitely don't turn your private pain into public conversation. If someone uses other people's secrets as currency, don't be surprised when they spend yours, too. You don't need to confront them with drama. Just create distance, with clarity and intention. Your trust is a gift. Don't give it to someone who treats it like small talk. Because a person's loyalty isn't measured when they're laughing with you, it's revealed when they're speaking about you. Choose friends who speak with honor, even when no one's listening. 6. You feel worse after spending time with them. There's a quote by Maya Angelou that says, "People will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." And when it comes to friendships, that feeling matters more than we often admit. We're taught to measure relationships by how long we've known someone, by shared history, old photos, inside jokes. But here's a question we rarely ask ourselves: how do I actually feel after I spend time with this person? Not in theory. Not out of obligation. But in your gut, when you get back in your car or close the door behind you. Do you feel lighter, seen, encouraged? Or do you feel drained, second-guessing yourself, or emotionally small? I had a lunch a few years ago with someone I hadn't seen in a while, a friend from college. I was excited to catch up. But 5 minutes in, the conversation turned sour. She criticized my career choices, questioned my priorities, and masked it all as concern. By the time I left, I felt deflated, like I'd just spent an hour under a microscope. That's when I realized something powerful: your body knows before your brain catches up. If you leave someone's presence feeling worse every time, it's not a coincidence, it's information. The Stoics believed in listening not just to the noise of the world, but to the signals within ourselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life." And your thoughts are shaped by the people you let close. Some people walk into your life and bring clarity. Others cloud it. This doesn't mean you cut someone off because of one bad conversation. But if the pattern is consistent, if your joy, motivation, and self-worth shrink around them, it's time to step back. Not because you're bitter, but because you're finally paying attention. Your peace isn't optional. It's essential. The most loving thing you can do for yourself is honor how you feel, not just once, but every time. Trust that. It's your compass. And sometimes, choosing peace means choosing space. Conclusion. Letting go doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're finally choosing peace over guilt, growth over history, clarity over chaos. We hold on to friendships because of how long we've known someone, or how much we've been through, but time invested is not a reason to stay stuck in something that no longer serves you. The Stoics taught us to live in the present, not out of habit or obligation, but out of truth. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive." And that includes relationships. If someone in your life consistently drains you, dismisses you, disrespects your boundaries, or clouds your confidence, it's okay to walk away. You're not cruel for choosing yourself. You're clear. Peace isn't something you stumble into. It's something you choose, deliberately, bravely, unapologetically. So if today's message hit home, maybe it's time to clear space for people who see you, hear you, and grow with you. Because the ones who are meant to walk with you, you won't have to drag them. They'll meet you where you are, and walk beside you, freely.